The first factor to our success has to be our retainer system, which we call the RCP, and that stands for Regular Content Plans. And it's basically designed to give clients a steady stream of content for their businesses, and in return, they pay us a set fee every single month. And it's the only guaranteed way to scale your business with a predictable income. So if you've ever found yourself thinking, oh, you don't know when your next job's coming from, or maybe you've had a really busy month and then a couple of really quiet months, this stops all of that and makes your business so much more predictable. And when it's predictable, it's easier to scale. Because if you know exactly how much you've got guaranteed coming in every month, you can then invest that money into new equipment without having to take out loans or anything like that. You can employ staff members, you can get an office space or a studio, and it makes it so much easier. When we developed this system, it took our business from working in my parents' living room to scaling it to where we are today in a studio with a whole team of people working on major projects, because we just knew we had that predictability, and clients love the system too. If you guys want to know more about the ins and outs of how the RCP system works, I'll leave a link in the description below. Next up is our financial management, and this might kind of sound a bit boring. And I think when I started, I didn't really know where to start with this stuff and didn't realize how important it is. But you need to really understand how to manage your finances. Like I was just saying, if you've got a quiet month and then a busy month, you need to make sure that busy month lasts you through quieter periods. And there's a couple key metrics that we really look at when we're looking at projects overall. That's our final profit margin and how much does it actually cost us per day to run. So even if you're just a small production company with one of you want to look at, okay, what is your business spending? So let's talk about your equipment. Let's have a look at your internet, your laptops or MacBooks or PCs or whatever it is that you use. Add all those things up and then divide it through the amount of working days in a year. And that will give you some idea of how much you need to make every day to make your business sustainable and what your kind of profit margins look like. It becomes really helpful when you're starting to price for bigger projects as well. But by having an understanding, even at the most basic level, of how your finances look in terms of what you're invoicing, what money's coming into your account and what's going out, and then what you're actually left with at the end of every month. Because it might be a case that, you know, you're invoicing for tens of thousands of dollars, but at the end of the month, you're only left with, you know, a clear profit of maybe $1,000, and that's not much to grow a business on. So just knowing those numbers makes a huge difference. And the other factor and a tip that I would advise everyone to have a look at and think about is your time. Time is money at the end of the day, and that's something where if it's just you in a smaller business, it becomes a lot harder to kind of track those things because you just see as your time is your time. But when you start to employ people, that becomes really important to know how long projects are taking. Because if you're quoting for a project based on 2 days editing and you just keep going back and forth, you know, mixing it in between all the other things you've got going on, it might actually take you longer than that 2 days. And if you know what your profit margins are, you could actually very quickly start working at a negative number or have absolutely no profits left at the end of the month because you're not taking into account what your value is to the business as well. Undoubtedly, our ability to adapt to change has been something that's seen us become more successful over the years. And COVID was a complete test of this as well. And this is why I think having a diverse portfolio is really important, especially if you are starting out. If your niche was just in the events industry and then COVID happened, you ended up with no work and no business. Whereas we were able to have a diverse portfolio and actually able to utilize other markets that were still operating through a time like that. Now, don't make the mistake of thinking something like that won't happen again, because there could be an economic downturn within the industry or something like that. So I would still advise having 1 or 2 niches, but also continuing to hold in the back catalog or in the back room of your editing suite a diverse portfolio, because that also allows us to go to new clients in new industries and say, yeah, we've got something similar to what you're looking for. Here's an example. And then we're more likely to get the job for those things as well. So yeah, ability to adapt to change, think fast on your feet and have a diverse portfolio is something that's really helping us continue to grow. In order to be successful, you need to know where you're going. And to know where you're going, you need to have some kind of roadmap. And for us, that's our growth strategy, or in effect, it's our kind of business plan. And this doesn't need to be long and boring. It can literally just be 2 or 3 pages like ours is. And it very quickly just identifies where are you currently in terms of the type of clients you work with, the types of work you do, and also what your finances look like. Then looking at some competitor analysis of people you aspire to be like. What are they doing differently to you and what's making them successful? Then comes our vision setting. So this is the really inspiring bit of our business plan that says, this is where we're going. This is where we want to be in 5-10 years time. And then finally, and this is the most important bit that people forget about, is to note down how you're going to measure that. How do you know that you're actually on track? You've identified where you currently are, what the people are who you aspire to be like are currently doing, and where you want to be. How are you going to know you're on that right track? So we then list loads of things we're going to measure it by, and that might be finances, it might be the type of work, it might be winning awards and things like that. But without a growth strategy, you have no idea if you're going in the right direction other than just a bit of a gut feeling, and that will only get you so far. With our clients, they're not just getting a video. We have got a clear process that's relationship focused. And that has been a key to our success and our growth over these years. And which is why we have such a high retention rate with our clients who keep coming back to us time and time again, because we really take an avid interest in their business. And we're so much more focused on the relationship side of things rather than just filming, passing it on, get the next client in. We try to look after them as much as possible. And we do that by implementing clear touch points. So basically when we're working on a project, we'll send them over a quick WhatsApp of what the timeline looks like, or something to do with their project, or things that we've noticed, just to make sure that the client always feels like we're only ever working on their project and they're getting the maximum amount of our attention to deliver the best type of work. And that really builds a better relationship, which means they just keep coming back to you because they ultimately love to work with you. Could I ask you just do me a real big favor? This graph right here is what we use to track the success of our channel. And currently 61% of people who watch the content on this channel aren't currently subscribed. Now, subscribers is one of the only ways we know whether or not we're doing a good job, as well as engagement and people watching through to the end of the videos. So it would mean the world to me if you're not currently subscribed, if you could press that button. It's completely free to do so. An absolute worst case, you could always unsubscribe later if you really don't like the content that we're putting out. But it just tells us that we're doing a good job. It keeps that support going, and hopefully we can do bigger and better things as a result of it. So thanks for taking the time to press that button. Really appreciate it. Let's get back into the last 5 tips. I'm sure you all agree that if you had a cake shop that only sold one type of cake, that you would be really limited on the growth of that business. But there's lots of videographers that only just sell video, or photographers that just sell photos. So a huge factor in our growth has also been our diverse revenue streams. So we're not just selling videos, we're also selling all other types of services. And I don't mean all other types of services like really random ones that aren't anything to do with our industry, but we do sell photography services, and we team up and collaborate with photographers for project basis. So we will outsource some of that work. We also team up with animators and graphic designers. We obviously sell video services as well as drone services. So I know a few companies as well that particularly just focus on drone videos, but there's actually probably a huge demand if you start to offer normal video services too. So just don't limit yourself. And I think that's been a key factor to our growth, has been by diversifying our revenue streams and making sure that we take full advantage of everything that's connected to video production. As a production company, we're really value focused, and we're driven to deliver the best results for our clients. And often that can mean sacrificing some of our profit margin in order to do a better job that will keep that client coming back to you. Or we can just all, as a production company, be really proud of that piece of work. So I would suggest to creators, if it only takes you like an hour to pull together a couple of reels or Instagram stories or YouTube shorts for a video project you've been working on, even if it's just something as simple as clipping in and out and exporting those things, that could be something that provides a huge amount of value to the client, and is sometimes nice as an added bonus as well, especially if they're not expecting it. So we'll often look at those value-based metrics and think, what can we be doing within this project that obviously still enables us to make a profit out of it because we are a business, but equally enables us to deliver the maximum value for the client, and we can often over-deliver as a result of that. And I think that's again been a really key point in getting clients to keep coming back to us and being really happy with what we do, because we always have their best interests at heart. Something that separates us apart from other production companies is my actual background. And I know you don't have the same background as me, but what I would suggest is to try and play to your own strengths and your own experiences. So my background as a professional freestyle skier allows me to very quickly engage and talk to brands in the sports or action sports sector, because I've been there. I've been an athlete. I've been involved in the industry, so I can talk about it from experience. And that really helps in a meeting with bigger companies to instantly build up rapport, show them that you're the expert because of your background, and therefore you know what you can bring to the table, and they see so much more value, and they'll perceive you have a much higher perceived value as a result of using your own experience and own background. So whatever that is for you, try and pull on those strings. Perhaps you're doing some work for a car mechanics garage and a member of your family has a car garage. Pull in those stories because it shows that you understand the challenges that these businesses are facing. I couldn't do this top 10 list without mentioning teamwork, or collaborative teamwork at that. We've got an amazing team that's helped us grow over the years, and having that team has been really important to the growth of our business. But they can only grow by allowing time for their own personal development. Now, even if you don't have a team and it's just you on your own, you need to set aside some time for your own personal development. That might be a passion project. It might be something you want to learn. You might be learning more about color grading or lighting or anything like that. But you need to make sure you set that time apart. If you are operating a team at the moment, then I would suggest doing what we try to do, which is every month we have a sit-down meeting where one person, and it changes every month, they talk about something that they've done or they've learned over that period of time. So someone might talk about color grading. Next week, someone else might talk about the latest YouTube audience retention, which will be helpful to some of our other clients, so on and so forth. So it enables everyone to grow at a much better rate as well. Finally, number 10, we couldn't be successful if it wasn't for our network, but you are the orchestrator of your own business. So this means that you have to get out there and build your own network. People won't just know who you are, and they won't just come to you out of the blue. They're going to want to build up a relationship, and it's all about how many hands can you shake, how many people can you meet, how many people can you make an impact on. So increasing your network is something that I've really enjoyed doing because I'm a real people person. So I love going to networking events, trade shows, and things like that to really talk to people and get to know them. And then all of a sudden it might be 6 months, 2 months, 3 months, or 5 years later, where we've had this before, and a client rings you up and they say, oh, we spoke to you a few years back, and you're thinking, wow, I never thought anything would come of that, but it does, and it surprises you. So building out your network is one of the most important things you can do. And that all depends on, again, not necessarily a quick win in the short term, but meeting as many people as you can and trying to make an impact and provide as much value as you can. That's going to really help grow your business quickly. Implementing some of these points means that you'll definitely have more success in your production company and it will help it grow quicker. But the reality is there's a real dark, hidden truth behind running a videography business. If you want to know what that is, then take a look at this video here where I uncover some of the dark truths in my own business and the things that you need to avoid in order to become successful. Don't forget to press that subscribe button if you're not already, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.